Item D1, Family Parks Recreation funding for the Asian Lunar New Year Parade. It's a really big event in the lunar community, the Asian community, with Mills 50, and that's going to be on February 10th, 2013. That's Sunday from 10:45 a.m. to 4 p.m. And it's going to start at Hillcrest in Hampton and go to Colonial Photo and Hobby. Again, that's been kind of the signature event for Mills 50 Main Street, and I will be riding in the Dragon Boat. So we're looking forward to that. And the only other thing on the agenda today, Mayor, ordinance first reading number 3, Trinity Lutheran Church. I'd just like to point out that the Lake Eola Heights Historic Neighborhood and the church worked for many, many months to come to a solution for concerns that they had about redeveloping this property. And this has great community support. And again, just because you want to redo something doesn't mean you can't work with the neighborhood and do it right. And I'd like to celebrate and thank Trinity Lutheran Church for doing this properly and working with the neighbors and doing the right thing and saving the old houses and restoring a residential edge along Amelia Street. So again, if you work with folks, they'll usually be reasonable and rational, and we got a really good redevelopment coming, and the church was able to meet all their needs for their new center too. So. And I'd also like to recognize Randy Tootin, Wadeview President. He's in attendance today. Good to see you, Randy, and that's all I had, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner, and we'll move to District 5, Commissioner Lynham.
Oh, was that the fire chief?
Yeah, he's the fire
Oh,
chief.
right,
Yeah.
right, I thought so.
Mhm.
Hi, Chief.
Still busy.
Yeah. Just a few announcements. Mayor, I want to congratulate you on becoming Chair of Links. I think that's a great move for you in the city. We look forward to all the things we've been doing. We talked about this morning, this great presentation by John Lewis and the BRTs in 2 different areas, so we're really, really happy about that. I also want to congratulate our MLK Commission that did a great job this year with the African American Original Gospels over at Mount Zion. Mount Zion is only 5 years younger than the city, and I'm just always happy to go there. And congratulate all of our staff and the council and the mayor on the blueprint. We received the African American Award, or I can't remember the name of the award, but it was from the African American Chamber at the gala this past weekend. It was a phenomenal event at Disney. Bernice Atkins-Brown is the president, and you know Reverend Spooney is a CEO or executive director. So I want to congratulate Janera and all of the work that we're doing there with that great event. And the many public meetings we've had, and it's just so sad. Sometimes we have so many public meetings and people miss them, and then they try to recreate the issue. Congratulations, Commissioner Ortiz, for Tri-County. I think that's a great introduction when you start at the local level and work on the state level and then on to national. That's how we normally do it. So I look forward to continuing to work with you. And of course, Pastor Larry Mills, Pastor Mount Sinai, is the new president for AACCC. So we will see, well, we see a lot of him anyway, but I just want to make that announcement. And of course, the one agenda item is D5. We're always happy when we have after-school nutritional programs that provide food and nutrients for our kids. Thank you very much, Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Ings. Who was
Second.
Second by Commissioner Ortiz. All in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, so the motion carries. Let's see. We have no CRA, we have no NID, we have no OPEB, so we are on to hearings. Madam Clerk, would you read the title of the resolution, please?
A resolution of the City of Orlando, Florida, pursuant to provisions of Section 55.16, subsection 4, Chapter 55 of the Code of the City of Orlando, establishing a minimum per hour rate for luxury passenger vehicles and providing an effective date.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Ings, second by Commissioner Sheehan. Is there anyone from the public that would like to testify on this matter? Do we have any cards?
No, sir.
We'll close the public hearing. Is there discussion among commissioners? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Chief, were you supposed to give a presentation on that?
Yes, sir.
Well, does he really need to? I mean, if you feel a burning desire to, Chief, I mean.
It's up to you. No.
It's always just public
Everybody
information.
was pretty up to speed with what we were doing there, so sorry about that. I know it was really good, too.
It was.
Riveting.
Thank you.
Okay. So hearings, ordinances, second reading. Madam Clerk, number 1.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, annexing to the corporate limits of the City of Orlando, Florida, certain real property generally located north of State Road 528, south of Lee Vista Boulevard, and west of Narcoossee Road, and addressed as 7252 Narcoossee Road, comprised of 1.08 acres more or less, amending the city's adopted growth management plan to designate the property as industrial in the city's official future land use map, and designating the property as industrial commercial district with the aircraft noise overlay district on the city's official zoning maps, providing for severability, correction of scrivener's errors, and an effective date.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Gray, second by Commissioner Stewart. Is there anyone from the public that would like to testify on this matter? Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Number 2, Madam Clerk.
An ordinance of the City of Orlando, Florida relating to a street name change, renaming McFadden Court, generally located west of Lessing Avenue, north of Tavistock Lakes Boulevard, and west of Narcoossee Road to Dugard Court, directing amendments to the official maps of the City of Orlando, Florida, providing for severability, correction of scrivener's errors, and an effective date.
Move to adopt. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Gray, second by Commissioner Ortiz. Is there anyone from the public like to testify on this matter? Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Number 3, Madam Clerk.
An ordinance of the City of Orlando, Florida, rezoning certain land generally located north of Mid-Florida Drive, south of Tradeport Drive, east of South Orange Avenue, and west of Central Port Drive, and comprised of 2.62 acres, more or less, from Conservation District to Planned Development District, and including the property within the existing Airport Industrial Park of Orlando Planned Development, directing amendment of the official zoning map series, providing for severability, correction of scrivener's errors, and an effective date.
Move to adopt.
Motion by Commissioner Gray, second by Commissioner Stewart. Is there anyone from the public like to testify on this matter? Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Ordinances, first read, Madam Clerk.
An ordinance of the City of Orlando, Florida relating to a street name change, renaming Touchstone Drive, generally located between Grand National Drive and International Drive, to Fun Spot Way, directing amendments to the official maps of the City of Orlando, Florida, providing for severability, correction of scrivener's errors, and an effective date.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Ing, second by Commissioner Sheehan. Is there anyone from the public who would like to testify on this matter? Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Number 2, Madam Clerk.
An ordinance amending Chapter 55 of the Code of the City of Orlando, Florida, entitled Regulation of Taxicabs, Limousines, Luxury Passenger Vehicles, Shuttles, and Other Vehicles for Hire by renumbering and amending definitions in Section 55.02, amending reference to vehicle for hire inspectors to vehicle for hire officers, providing an exemption for certain vehicles for hire, and deleting seller of travel exemption in Section 55.06 by amending required minimum liability insurance amounts in Section 55.12, providing a definition and permit fee, and including a fleet increase for green taxi cabs in Sections 55.02, 55.21, and 55.25, amending necessary requirements in Sections 55.20, 55.29, and 55.30, including grounds for revocation of a driver's permit in Section 55.34, and suspension of a vehicle permit in Section 55.35, rewording, clarifying, and amending language throughout the chapter, and providing for severability, correction of scrivener's errors, codification, and an effective date.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Lineham, second by Commissioner Ings. This is major cleanup to Chapter 55. We have one person to like to testify, Roger Chapin. Mr. Chapin, you know the rules.
Thank you very much. Roger Chapin with Mears Transportation Group. I would have waived my time like Deputy Chief Pigman, but as you stated, Mayor, most of this is technical language cleanup, and I did want to applaud the Chief of Police and Deputy Chief Pigman and the attorneys over at the Vehicle for Hire Department. The one exciting piece is really an encouragement for utilization of hybrid taxis, and it's a incentive-based model, and I think Mayor, with your Greenworks Orlando, really kind of made that concept kind of sail through the process. So I just wanted to say thank you and appreciate the hard work of the Vehicle for Hire Department, and start looking for some more hybrid taxis on the roads soon.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Anyone else who'd like to testify? Hearing none. Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none. All in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Number 3, Madam Clerk.
An ordinance of the City of Orlando, Florida, rezoning certain land generally located north of East Livingston Street, east of North Magnolia Avenue, south of East Amelia Street, and west of Ruth Lane, and comprised of approximately 5.2 acres from O1THP in part, R2BTHP in part, MXD1THP in part, and O3T in part to Planned Development District within the city, with the traditional city overlay district in part, and Planned Development District with the traditional city and historic preservation overlay districts in part, providing conditions of the PD zoning district, directing amendment of the official zoning map, providing for severability, correction, scrivener's errors, and an effective date.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Sheehan, second by Commissioner Lineham. Is there anyone for the public like to testify? Discussion on commissioners. Hearing none. All in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Number 4, Madam Clerk.
An ordinance amending Chapter 12, Article 3, Firefighter Pension Fund of the Charter of the City of Orlando, Florida, pursuant to the authority contained in Chapter 2000-448 and Chapter 2009-268 Laws of Florida, by amending Section 8, Pension for Death in Line of Duty, by amending Section 10, Pension for Death Not in Line of Duty, by amending Section 12, Service Retirement for Voluntary Retirement, by amending Section 14, Benefits Payable Upon Death of Member, by amending Section 26, Orlando Firefighters Share Program, providing for severability and providing retroactive effective dates.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Ing, second by Commissioner Lineham. Is there anyone for the public that would like to testify on this matter? Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none. All in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? So the motion carries. That is the conclusion of the formal agenda. Thank you for joining us in chambers or at home. Three requests for general appearance. We'll start with Josh Paladino. Is Josh present? So if you would give your name and address, and you'll have 5 minutes.
Hi, my name is Josh Paladino, Josh Paladino. I live at 1415 West Robinson Street, Orlando, Florida, 32805. I want to start by saying thank you, Commissioner Gray, for your words on having public involvement in the process. It's what I've been trying to do since about August of last year with the start of Occupy Wall Street. What brings me here today is the Orange Runners Community Association. This is an association that we started beginning to mid last year, and the point of this was to create a more dignified living conditions for renters in communities, to create better laws that affect renters, and just basically be an overall association that does the best that we possibly can do for renters. Starting last year, we were made aware of a situation in the Orange Center Boulevard area, Washington Shores Village. As most of you know, this neighborhood is more of a blight on the community than anything else. So we, with the Orange Runners Community Association, had tried to do the best that we possibly could at creating a more dignified situation over there, because people have to live there. People should and be privy to having the right of having good, safe living conditions. We met with Commissioner Ings starting in later July of last year, and we sat down with him and the owner of the community of Washington Shores, Jim and Solomon Eukins, both of which are absentee landlords and are more homestead in the Miami area. So I want to say thank you, Commissioner Ings, for taking my calls this month, as well as my associates' calls. But starting with that, as you guys know, the city was given or approved a grant of $300,000 for them to uphold and maintain for 15 years 6 apartment units in the Savoy apartment complex. This apartment complex, when we were able to go there, we walked with maintenance, Mr. Travis Martin, who was at the time the maintenance man of the community. We looked at this apartment complex. We went inside, and the first thing that we saw was water pouring out of the ceiling into the circuit breaker box. We then went into the bathroom, saw more water leaks, damage, mold. We went upstairs to find out where this water leaking was come from, and as we were walking upstairs, the railing breaks as I'm leaning against it. This is something that the city went out and inspected, said it was completed, and everything was up to code. Speaking on code, Washington Shores has been allowed to rack up over $1.5 million in fines. The interesting thing about this is, as of now, this year, all of the PDQ Coolidge properties have been inspected by the Florida Department of Business Professional Regulation. The only two to which have not been inspected being Orange Manor and Washington Shores Village. Why that is, I'm not exactly sure, but all the other ones around it, even the ones that are condemned, have been inspected. And it makes me wonder, what is the city going to be doing on this problem? What can we possibly do as the Renters Association do for our tenants out there? People who are afraid to stand up and speak out because of the ramification that might follow them. We brought several renters from that neighborhood here today who are afraid to speak out. Commissioner Ings, we tried to set up contact with you several times and been, well, denied time to speak with you. I've called your office maybe 6 or 7 times in the past 2 weeks, as well as my associates, been unable to get a hold of you. And honestly, I'm starting to question and wondering if it's the political contributions that have been given to you for your re-election campaign, citing two.
You need to direct your comments through the
to
chair.
board. Okay, Chair. I'm starting to wonder whether it's the political contributions made to a commissioner that is keeping this problem under the rug instead of out there in the public. It was a breaking news story last year, and it was big for a whole 10 minutes until people didn't care anymore. But the renters are still living in this bad situation. The situation's not changing. What can we possibly do as the association? And if we could get some answers from the commission, it would be really nice. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Doug Head.
Hi, I'm Doug Head. I'm also sort of affiliated with the Orange Renters Community Association, but I wanted to just recount for you an incident that occurred in my life when I was 13 years old. I was taken by my local church group to St. Louis, Missouri, to the heart of one of the most dilapidated slums in America. And at that time, when I was 13 years old, I saw conditions of living and of people's lives that were just horrible. I haven't seen very much like that since in my entire life. And I was a Peace Corps volunteer, and I've lived all over the world. But when I got to looking up close at Washington Shores Village and the conditions that we're tolerating here in the city of Orlando, I was really appalled. Commissioner Ings mentioned the problem of people coming through town on the train, seeing graffiti beside the train route. Well, I would challenge all of you to spend some time in Washington Shores Village and in some of the other incredibly dilapidated community complexes that we have allowed to continue to exist in our community. The condition is appalling. The landlords are either in bankruptcy or in some kind of process where they are legally protected, and I know there are constraints upon your actions. But we have got to do something to pay attention to some of these dilapidated communities. And it's lovely to have a downtown that looks great. It's lovely to have certain neighborhoods that look great, but there's some neighborhoods in this community that are suffering terribly, and we're not attending to them enough. Now, I want to commend Commissioner Lynham and Commissioner Ings for doing what they can, but it seems to me that it requires a new level of commitment from the city to address these problems. And the problems aren't going away, and they're just getting worse. And for 6 months, we've been trying to draw attention in the media or any other way that we can to these problems, but nothing is happening. And I think that the time has come for the council to address the matter and to get engaged, really, in the conditions of living. I would point out that there are a number of other complexes which the same owner owns, which have for years been fenced off and boarded up. There are other investors who can turn these apartments around, who have, to us, expressed their interest in getting engaged, who have done similar turnarounds in other neighborhoods. But we have got to do something about some of these horrendous circumstances, blocks from the Citrus Bowl, which we are talking about renovating, where there really has to be a turnaround in the conditions under which people are living. Thank you.
David Rucker.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. My name is David Rucker. I am the president of the Homeowners Association in Washington Shores. Also, I am speaking on behalf of the Renters Association too, and I have to say ditto to the same thing that Doug and the rest of the people are talking about. At one time when I first came here, I ended up living in the village. That was a place that was well respected at one time, back in the 60s, the late 60s and early 70s. But now since then it has gone down. It's bad news. I can't say it's really a ghetto, but it's getting real close. I had a chance to spend some time there too with the rest of the organization and talk to Commissioner Ings about some things, and I am concerned too. So what I like to do is just invite you guys to come out and just do a tour of the area and look, because things are happening out there that is not good. We only like maybe a half a mile away from the stadium, and people that comes to all those games get a chance to see that dilapidated place. It's ran down. It is looking bad. Some of the steps you can't walk up to get to the next level because you're afraid they'll fall. You guys need to come out and look at those things. We are concerned about that. Although our group is semi-inactive as the Washington Shores Area Association, but I still have members that's concerned about the way it is. You need to come out. We invite you out. And I too would like to have Commissioner Ings to go and look. There's some more things that this group owns all over the city, especially in the black neighborhoods, and you're not doing anything. If I own those buildings, I'd probably be jacked up and have everybody looking at me to try to make me do something. These guys are getting away with not doing anything, and it's been there for almost 2 years or longer. So we need your help. We need to see what you can help Commissioner Ings do to move this process on and get these things to look a whole lot better, even if you have to just push some of them down. All right? You guys need to do something. Thank you.
Commissioner, we have one more. Lawanna Gelzer.
Lawanna Gelzer, I reside at 7674 St. Stevenson Court, Orlando, zip 32835. I commend you guys for speaking on this, but I'm speaking on another matter. I'm speaking on public requests. I've been putting in quite a few public requests, and it's taking too long. So I would like to get with the individuals who's in charge, which is probably Elena, but to make sure, why is it taking so long to get certain documents? We have, as a public servant, I think I should be able to get these documents within a week. If it's going to be 2 weeks, but the ordinance say, or the rules say, within a specific time, I'm not getting the documents I need. And then when I used to get turn in public requests, it would always be an attached $1,000 fee to receive some of these documents. So I'm very concerned, and I know the process, but the reason why I'm here today is for it to be in the minutes that I came before the city council, so it won't fall on deaf ears. All of you've heard that I'm going to continue to request public documents as a citizen of the city of Orlando, and I think I should be able, and our organization should be able to get these things in a timely manner. Thank you, and for those of you I haven't said Happy New Year to, I know it's a little late, but Happy New Year.
Commissioner Lynham.
Mayor, I just have to make a couple of comments. I don't know where our code enforcement person is, but I'm really surprised that David and Doug, I don't know this young man, would tell someone to do something when they'd never asked you what you've done. Number one, the city of Orlando cannot arbitrarily sell somebody else's property. And if you think we don't do anything, I think there's a chief of police over there that would tell you how we work together with code enforcement, how we're trying to get things through nuisance, how we've worked with the Yocums, tried to. It is terrible, But when you don't own the property, I've been here a while, and I used to, David, live in Orange Center Manor in 1962. And the villages were not constructed until years after that. So it was late 60s, early 70s. But where Katie Adams lived there, the McElroys, the teachers and lawyers, everybody lived there. It was a step upward over on the promenades and whatnot. A lot of work go into bad situations, and the young man about the rental properties. I tend to get around my district quite a bit. I even have a nightmare in my own neighborhood. And to have someone to make those kind of comments, I find it disturbing, because you wouldn't have even had to come here. You could have gone to code enforcement or go to some of the code enforcement meetings to sit and see, look at the things that are happening to those companies, how long it takes us to get anything done, because it's something called the Harris Act. Years ago, we used to be able, for public use, do the, what was it, Mayor? The taking is called condemnation. But it's nearly impossible unless there is a great public benefit. And the public benefit to me, you don't know. I would love to tear down everything on Orange Center, because behind that area is District 5 on the south and on the north. And it is very, very painful, and it has been that way for almost 14 years, or even before. But we do what we can. But you ought to start maybe with code enforcement, see what is going on there, check with the police department to see how they work together in probably dealing with the code enforcement issues and the criminal components. And it's been that way for so long. But we don't have the money to buy those apartments. We did one time, and the apartments went into receivership, and that's when those apartments were in District 5. And when the money went away, when they went in receivership, of course, the Hope Church benefited from the money that we were going to put into those apartments with another group of folks at the time. I can't call their names right now. I remember one principal. But that is not fair to come here and say things that are not true when it only takes a little inquiry. I at least respect Josh, who, got some information to say you don't do anything. Then you're going to invite